Okay, we'll be there in a minute. Thanks. Hey guys. Hey, welcome to another episode of I Follow for Kids. Today we are talking about how I talk to God. You know, we've been saying how when we are followers of Jesus, we don't stay in one place. It's an adventure. Following Jesus is the greatest adventure of your life. You know what's interesting is I was just on the phone with somebody. We're not going to a sightseeing place today. We're actually going to a friend. He's got a lot of land and he wanted us to come out and take a look at it. And so that's where we're going. But it's important how communication is to that process. I mean, I had to call him and figure out where he was and what time we can come out and what the right way is to get there. And I just think about that. I mean, think about all the different kinds of communication we have. You have your mom or dad's cell phone. You've got, the radio we can hear one way. You've got Zoom. That's a big thing this year where you can actually see people's face. There's so many different ways, of course, that we can talk to people, but it's important that we're talking to the right people and that we're getting the right information and giving the right information. So today we're going on an adventure where we're talking about how I talk to God and the example Jesus gave us in that. So why don't you guys come with me? I really think you're going to enjoy today. Let's check it out. Well, here we are. We made it. We had to take a four-wheeler to get up here. Had to get out and hike some, but we have made it. And I know it might look like we are in Colorado. We're actually pretty close to Fredonia, Kansas. A friend let us come onto his land. He's got so much land. And what's cool about this is there's some really cool hiking trails where you can get up high on these cliffs. And for Kansas, cliffs are pretty cool. Now, here's the thing. Today, we're talking about, remember I said something about communication. So I've got these walkie-talkies here. We came out with my family, and these walkie-talkies will actually go like up to 4 miles. So even though I can't see my family right now, or rather I probably should say they can't see me, they can hear me, and I can kind of guide them to the top where I am, which brings us to what we're talking about today on I Follow for Kids. Today, we want to focus on I talk to God. We're talking about prayer. And Matthew chapter 6, Jesus talks about prayer because his disciples asked him, hey, how are we supposed to pray? Jesus prayed in a different way than everyone else did. And so he gave them a way to pray. Now, some people like to pray exactly what Jesus said, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But really what Jesus was giving us was a model for prayer. And you know what I noticed at the very beginning of that prayer is Jesus says, Our Father who is in heaven. Now, obviously, God knows where he is. God knows where he resides. It's in heaven. But why do we say that? Well, because when we're talking to God, one of the best things we can do is talk about who he is. In fact, Jesus would go on to say, may your name be honored. And so when we talk about who God is and where he is, it really helps us understand what prayer does. It helps us bring things to him that nothing is going to be too big for him to handle. It's kind of like today. My family is down farther, and even though they can't see me, I can see them, and I can see the way up. I have a higher viewpoint than they do. In fact, just for fun, I thought it'd be fun to check in with my daughter. Hey, Lizzie, can you hear me?
Yeah. How do I get out of here?
You want to know how to get out of where you are?
Yeah.
Okay, so from where I am, if you walk straight forward, you'll be back on the path that we were before.
Are you sure?
Yeah, if you walk straight forward, because I can see it from up here. So if you walk straight forward, you'll end up back on the path that we were.
I trust you.
Sometimes Lizzie couldn't see everything that I could see, but because I had a higher viewpoint, I could kind of guide her on where she should go. And I love that because that's the way it is with God, but on a much bigger scale. God sees things that we just can't see because he's made everything. Even just standing in this beautiful place that we're in, it's amazing to think that God sees me and he knows me, even though he made everything. I love that Jesus in Matthew chapter 6 taught us how to pray. And there's kind of 4 main categories that we think. Again, you don't have to repeat them word for word, but the first thing is recognizing who God is and where he is. Recognizing that he has a higher viewpoint than us and telling him that he is honored and amazing. That gets us in the right position. And then when we talk about thanking God for things, the reason why we do that is because we're saying we agree with God's plan for our life. God, thank you for the opportunities that have come my way. Thank you for things that maybe you're not that happy about, but thank you for giving them to me so that you can do something through them. And then we can come to a place where we can ask God about things and say, hey, God, here's a request I have. I love that my daughter was able to ask me, even with the walkie-talkie, where to go or what to do. And I love that. And just like as a father, I love my child asking me for things. That's the way God feels about you. He loves it when you bring those things to him. He already knows what they are. Remember, he has a much higher viewpoint, but he cares for you and he loves you. And then the last thing that Jesus references in his prayer is for us to say sorry. And you just think about it. If Lizzie would have made the wrong cue or turned off her radio and said, I don't need to hear from you, that would have hurt my feelings. She would have had to apologize. And that's the way relationships should work. I have to do that. When I mess up, I have to apologize to my kids or I have to apologize to my wife. In a good relationship, there's time to say, hey, I'm sorry that I've done this. And God wants us to do that. In fact, we talked about that a few weeks ago in 252, that when we're honest with God, it keeps us close to him. And so anyways, we hope that this has helped you. We hope that you take some time. Maybe it'd be good for you to walk out into some trees, into God's creation, and take some time to pray. Because as followers of Jesus, God wants us to talk to him. And that's why today we talked about I Talk to God. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Follow for Kids. We'll see you next time.